course I have passion for my 49ers.
I am not going to back down on this one. Sometimes I go extra hard just to prove my point.
No, you don't get to have it both ways.
It's head-to-head. It's mono-y-mono. It's 49ers face-off. And it wouldn't be right not to have a glitch after the performances we saw from the playoffs. But I'm excited for this face-off because I think there's going to be a lot of interesting topics between you two. And I will be calling this right down.
Right down the middle?
Right down.
Right down the middle.
Hopefully you'll be as good as the referee was yesterday. I actually thought that was one of the best officiating games that we've had all year.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
They were consistent.
Hey, was it better than Saturday with Boger?
You guys know what I think about Jerome Boger. I mean, his nose. The only thing scarier than
don't. Whatever you're gonna say, I'm gonna stop you right now.
It's his nose.
I'm gonna stop you right now. Just stop.
His nose.
We got to get to the coin toss.
Thank God.
About them Cowboys.
Coin toss.
They are who we thought they were, and we didn't let them off the hook.
That's accurate.
Well done. And I believe, Alex, you get to
yes, it's
call
me.
the coin toss this time.
By the way, so you got the old school 94 style shark tooth hat on today, too.
Congratulations, Jay. No one cares. Everyone cares about the coin toss. They don't care about your hat.
Go ahead.
Give me.
I miss it again.
It's a nice hat.
Thank you. Give me a nice tails, Ant. Give me a nice tails.
Tails.
Nice tails.
He's finally calling tails, folks.
It is tails.
And he's finally learned that you call tails, it never fails. I mean, it's true.
So, would you like to go first, or would you like to defer to the second topic and have Jason go?
I'm gonna go first on this first one. Well, I'm gonna go first.
Huh?
All right. So Alex is taking the ball. He's receiving, and the question that he's going to receive is playoff wildcard playoff game. 49ers versus Cowboys. What is your grade for the San Francisco 49ers team, offensively and defensively?
Look, I think if you just look at this game as a whole, I think most people grade this thing out around a B. I'm going to give this a B+ overall from this game for one reason and one reason only. I think your defense played at an A+ level. I think it played about as good of football as you could possibly play. And I think it played incredible football despite the fact that Nick Bosa and Fred Warner went down in this football game. At the end of the day, your defense held the number one scoring offense and the number one, yards gained, breaking records all over the place for the Cowboys, setting franchise records.
NFC East teams.
You held them. You held them to 17 points. You did what you needed to do. If your offense does a little bit better job of finishing some drives out in the first half and not settling for field goals, that game is way worse at halftime than it possibly needed to be. And if you convert on some passes and don't throw a pick there late in that second half, there's a good chance you're looking at a 40-10 game before the Cowboys are able to get anything going at all. And it would have just been Cowboys tears even earlier than what we saw from Cowboys fans. And they would have been throwing stuff on the field a lot earlier than just waiting for the end of the game and blaming it on the officials, which I feel so bad for you, Mr. Official, catching a lot of flack from Cowboys fans, even though it seems like the Cowboys really shot themselves in the foot. So tip my hat to you. Your crew did a pretty solid job top to bottom for most of the game. But look, I think it's a solid B+ for the Niners.
Referee too. This is only his fourth year. I was impressed by him.
Yeah,
he was composed. He didn't have to have 10,000 huddles after every call and review this and review that. It was very. As far as the team grade, your initial thought of what everyone is kind of thinking was what you should have gone with. That
False.
B to potentially even B-.
He's negative, Jay.
Range is very accurate. The defense can't get an A+. They did miss a couple of interceptions. They had a chance to make some plays. So gotta hold that against them.
Did they make an interception, Jay? Did they sack Dak Prescott 5 times?
They made one, yeah.
Did they sack Dak Prescott 5 times?
They made one.
Did they force a fumble?
Yeah, but they didn't recover it, though.
Doesn't matter. They still forced it.
So the defense was great. I give them A-. They were why we won the game, and they are the pass rush was dominant. The Cowboys have 4 Hall of Famers on their offensive line, I've been told, and Yet Dak was getting beat up the whole time, and Zeke, that $90 million running back, couldn't get over the yards.
31, in fact.
Yep.
Yeah.
12 carries, right?
I was glad that they didn't actually get the ball more to Tony Pollard.
They completely abandoned.
I thought that was
Tony
helpful.
Pollard.
That was helpful because he had that on that one on their first touchdown drive. He looked like he was could be a pain in our butt. But the other thing that I loved was Kellen Moore also forgetting that this is not Boise State. You can't run a Statue of Liberty play or the hook and ladder play.
I think you just mean hook and ladder. There was no Statue of Liberty play.
I mean, those kind of plays you can't run in the NFL. This is not the Fiesta Bowl versus Bob Stoops.
Well, hold on.
For God's sakes, you're playing Kyle Shanahan, bro.
They were 50% accurate on hook and ladder plays.
Yeah,
50%. They're good odds.
Cool.
Kellen Moore will take those.
Sure. I hope he takes to those and goes to Jacksonville now. Maybe he can coach up old Trevor Lawrence down there a little bit. The offense, it wasn't bad, but Tomlinson had a couple penalties that didn't help. Even everyone's hero Trent had a couple penalties that weren't ideal, and
one of them wasn't on Trent though.
The 4th and inches one, that was for sure on Jimmy. He has to wait a half second longer there to get the big man set.
Actually, he has to wait a full second because he has to be set for a full second.
Yeah, I mean he was almost set, so a half second would have been there.
His hand would have had to been on the ground for 1 second. Jason.
Jimmy's throw to BA.
So about 1.5 seconds then, Mr. Official?
Yeah, another half second for him to get set, and then a full second to be set, before he could snap the ball.
That was a situation, Ant, where if JHill had actually gone with the sliding scale, he would have been more accurate.
Yeah, a sliding scale would have been appropriate there.
You're welcome, Jay.
Jimmy missed that throw to BA, but that looked like it could have been. I thought he was going to do this, and he went like this. Either way, it still needs to be a pass when it needs to be converted. But Trayvon Diggs, Mr. Great Pro Bowl defensive back,
all pro.
Where was he? Because I saw him.
And an all pro.
I saw him. He zigged and BA zagged, and all of a sudden, BA was uncovered because he ran such a damn good route that old Trayvon was up there looking at his son for help.
Well, he does struggle with the double moves, so that has been something that's been
big
clear
time.
all season.
He's bad on those. Like he's
not good.
Wow, and he doesn't do good on crossing routes either. True. But I would have liked to have seen the. It felt like Eli Mitchell.
Well, I got a question.
Greg Gumbel. Still could, and then what was up with stupid Tracy Wolfson? Kept calling Nick Joey Bosa. I don't
know, but I feel like you're getting off track. What was the grade for the offense? Because you gave the defense an A minus.
B minus. They left two.
So how do you grade out a B?
A minus. And
you said A to A minus. That's a higher end. That's basically an A, and then you give the offense a B minus. Isn't that a B plus?
B plus. It kind of depends. I mean,
so then how am I wrong with the B plus grade? Genius. Thanks for making my case, smart guy. Thank you.
They're gonna be.
Appreciate it.
B plus on
Cutback crew. We all know who won the first topic. Thank you so much.
I don't know. Maybe he got Alex zigging when he should have zagged.
B plus on the offense.
I don't know. I think Jason zigged when he should have zagged.
Jason's trying to throw you off. He's rope and doping you right now.
Not really. He's rope and doping himself. He's giving himself the old rope and dope.
The lack of conversions in the first half. It was great to see Robbie Gould continue to have his amazing streak of never missing in the playoffs continue. Those obviously came in handy, but we can't only get 2 touchdowns probably on Saturday night and beat the Packers. Like we'll have to get at least 3 touchdowns and then hopefully get a couple field goals.
I think if you score 28 to 30, you should win that football game.
That should be enough. Yes.
I don't know. 28 didn't get it done last.
True.
It's true, but also was an all-time amazing throw that Fred missed by like this much too. But
and he did again. That happened again.
It did.
Where's the Cowboys?
It did.
He almost had that one. Fortunate.
It was a nice win. Obviously, I'm glad they won. But in terms of big picture thinking, the offense has to be a little more efficient, especially in the first half when we had the whole momentum was just an avalanche for us. I mean, we scored 10 points the first 7 into the game. We scored 13 the rest of the game. Like that it needs to be a little better than that. It just does.
Okay. Okay.
So, whatever.
I'm glad that I learned something about JHill though. He likes
boy.
big butts and he cannot lie.
Makes a lot, huh?
It was a big butt from you.
There
It
was
was a big butt.
and you gave your game grades.
There's
and,
so many things I could say right now.
I'm glad you're not.
Jason, you're going to be having the next topic. You guys went
Yeah,
through
I
your
am.
game grades, and you actually were pretty close to each other in that argument. So I think it's just however everyone's feeling. But now we got big questions because you brought up Fred Warner and the plays that he's made all season long. And now we're going to run the risk and the possibility that Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, or both are not going to be in this game. Can the 49ers beat the Green Bay Packers without Fred Warner and Nick Bosa on the field for that defense?
Can they? Absolutely. Does it lend itself to being in an ideal situation with our two best defensive players not on the field for an entire game versus the league MVP? No, it's not. But
Wait, they're not going against Devo.
oh, there we go. Bless you. Bless
How are you
son.
touching him? Stop
Yeah,
that.
that's weird, man. Illegal touching.
Alex Mack.
Yeah, there you go.
Jesus. But it takes away the focus, and it just means that the guys who are in a one-on-one battle have to win those battles consistently. There's not, especially on the defensive line, there's not that one guy that we have to. Matt LaFleur has to really key on. Okay. It's kind of
It's a dodgeball thing.
It's this dodgeball / Stephen A thing. Like he always makes fun of his name too, but he does it with being a little more I would say fabulous. That makes it really funny to watch.
Okay.
Glad to know someone's still watching the S-Spin.
Once in a while.
I'm glad.
I'm bored.
You are their one fan.
I'd prefer. I'd definitely get up over worst take, but it's tough. It really is because Rodgers and the offense is they're so in sync, and now that they actually can at least attempt to run the ball with Dylan and
Aaron Jones.
Thank you.
Got you.
That it having those guys there would be great. The one thing that I think that is a little bit sort of under the radar is, yes, they were really good and the Packers had a really good record, but their margin of victory and they played a lot of close games, and they didn't really blow teams out like say the Buffalo Bills, who've won every game this year by at least
Right, that was a weird
11
stat, yeah.
points, and then that stat obviously went up even more with the way they just destroyed Belichick. But the Packers, their points allowed versus points scored for a number one overall seed was one of the lowest ratio-wise in last like 20 years.
Wasn't as bad as the Raiders.
Huh?
The Raiders. Did you see the Raiders points scored or points against?
Oh,
they were like -65.
Yeah, they were. But for a number one seed, though,
I get what you're saying.
The perception is, they're really good, but they won a lot.
They are really good. They won a lot of football games.
They're very good, but once again, somewhat like the Dallas Cowgirls, they played in a not so great division. So
yeah, but they lost a game in that division. Unlike the Cowgirls.
Garbage one,
The
though.
49ers did not lose a game in that division.
True.
Yeah, we did.
Well, just Green Bay.
Packers.
I omitted them. I was thinking Chicago and Minnesota.
He was thinking the other two
and
teams.
Detroit, too.
And Detroit.
Beat.
He was thinking those other teams.
I was not thinking Green Bay.
So
So thank you for pointing that out.
You're welcome.
Expect a flag later.
I was gonna say I probably should just let that one go.
No, that's fine. Correct me.
No, don't throw the flag on
did
Mr.
forget
Official.
Green
Just
Bay.
give him the easy correction like you did, Jay. That was smooth.
It was well done.
It was. It was
So
nice.
Alex,
I
what's
don't
your
embarrass
feelings
you,
on
so.
this?
My feelings on this, I'm not even sure I understand what Jay's feelings are on this because he was kind of a little bit up and down on it.
Oh, was it?
I think
I
it
was east and
becomes
west.
extremely difficult
Sun got me.
to beat. Oh, jeez. I think it becomes extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. Maybe we should black out that window, Ant. I don't know if necessarily God needs to see into the room to
always
know
here.
what's going on with the podcast.
God's a Cowboy fan. I mean, how did you guys not know that?
I didn't know.
Jerry wants God to be able
Wasn't.
to
Hey, listen,
shine
I wasn't
through.
aware, but I am aware of this.
How'd you-
The Niners. Quiet down.
Back on track.
Quiet down. The Niners. It's going to be very difficult for the 49ers to win a football game without Nick Bosa and without Fred Warner on the football field. That's just the reality of the situation. Can it be done? Of course it can be done. Any team can win on any given week, depending on the game plan, if you force Rodgers into mistakes and things of that nature. But Nick Bosa creates a lot of problems for opponents. He makes it so that your blocking scheme has to account for him. You have to keep guys into chip. That means less guys running deep routes downfield, more opportunities for singled up opportunities for Arden Key, for Eric Armstead, for Samson Ebukam, Charles Omenihu,
DJ
Arden
Jones,
Key,
baby.
DJ Jones. I mean, all of them, the whole
We
nine.
gotta keep him. I love that guy.
Agreed with you on that. They
He's a
probably
monster.
need to find a way to re-sign him. But
Does he know about
I
that?
think that's a problem. Not having Nick Bosa out there is
Yes.
a problem. And Fred,
got it.
what Fred allows you to do, both against the run and also in the pass game, in terms of coverage wise, it is really, really hard to replace that. And the Niners don't really have a guy behind him who can do both of those things other than Dre Greenlaw.
Tyson?
Aziz is just not that guy. He can't be a guy who is out
Tyson?
there and covers very well. He's solid against the run, great
Tyson.
against the run at times, in
That's what
fact.
he does.
But if you have my word, you are talking a whole lot while I'm talking, and I was extremely respectful. JHill,
It's not Dre.
the disrespect from you is absolutely incredible, my guy.
Disrespectful.
My goodness
It's not
gracious.
Dre Greenlaw. It's Dre Tyson.
It's Dre Greenlaw.
Kyle said last week that he played like Mike Tyson.
I
That
agree
was
with
great.
you.
That was
His
a great
name is
analogy.
Dre
That was a
Greenlaw.
great analogy, though.
Stop being silly.
I get it.
Except for the fact that he didn't bite anybody early.
I get it in dad humor now. It's got to be Dre Tyson.
Look, at the end of the day, the Niners, it's going to be tough. They can win a football game, yes.
You're just mad because I corrected you still. Okay, fine. Go ahead.
I'm actually not mad. I'd already forgotten about it. I'm like Jimmy Garoppolo after a pick. I just move on.
That's all you can do, Ant. That's all you can do, Mr. Official. It's too bad JHill can't move on, but it's
He
fine.
can't.
But look,
stuck right
the Niners can get it done, but it's not going to be easy. It's going to be probably one of the tougher things they've had to do all season because it's a complete reconfiguration of your identity and how you plan to attack teams. You were able to get by one half without the both of them. Let's see if it ends up being a bigger problem that they have to deal with. But I'm not going to jump one way or the other on this. I think both injuries are not for sure outs or for sure ins. It's probably right now 50-50 across the board for both guys.
And so the question now abounds is if you get to have one of these guys back, Jim, you get one guy, which one is the more valuable piece for the 49ers, Fred Warner or Nick Bosa? Or
It's
Joey Bosa, depending on what
Joey
broadcast you're
Bosa,
watching.
absolutely. Tracy Wolfson, Joey Bosa here. It's close. I'd go like 55, 40, 60, or 55, 45, 60, 40, but
For what?
What a slide. What a sliding scale. Let me make sure I cover all my bases yet again.
I am very interested. Go ahead.
they're both very important. Like
Accurate.
We literally just covered that. So,
Yes.
But I'm giving the edge to Nick Bosa.
At which ratio?
One of those two. Like
Is it 60-40 or is it 55?
it's in that range. It's on that scale. It's on that fence line, right? Like,
51-49.
No, definitely not that, but-
53-47.
but see, here's why though, and this is he did kind of
54-46.
mention this. You saw Dalton Schultz the whole first half have to, in most cases, stay in to help chip on Nick
Right.
Bosa. Nick Bosa goes out, and Schultz becomes their best receiver the whole second half. So, even though the Packers are without Robert Tonyan, they can find somebody else to get in there, and probably Marcetti's looks outside of Kittle's probably the next best blocking tight in the sport, and he can still actually get out once in a while and make a play in the passing game. But so it'll be more of him to help on Bosa. But if Bosa's out, then our guys have to win their one-on-ones, and Rodgers will be able to have that extra guy out in the passing game too. So, like I said, it is close. They're both phenomenal players. Max Crosby being second team All-Pro is stupid. Whoever voted for that and psychotic crackhead versus Nick Bosa should be fired from their votes. At worst, he should have been second team All-Pro. He probably should have been on the other side of TJ Watt. So that in itself is pretty damn dumb. But it's Bosa. It's close. We need them both. I would guess it's a concussion. He'll be cleared by Friday. He'll be back by Saturday night. The ankle injury, which is the death of us. I swear to God, I'm so sick of seeing our guys with ankle injuries. That could be a little bit lingering. The good thing is, since it'll be cold, it might be a slower field than it was at Jerry World. So,
a slower field. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. Like I said,
JHill understands his anatomy, and the colder things get, the slower circulation becomes.
Except for unless it freezes, and then all of a sudden he's sliding on a bad ankle.
It's true.
That wouldn't be good.
No, it would be awful.
But so I did see early weather reports have game time kickoff around 20 with not much wind, so that's decent.
Yeah,
Not terrible.
That actually sounds good for Green Bay at this time of year.
It does. It sounds actually glorious.
That's like shorts and sandals for people in Green Bay this time of year.
My guy, I don't think you've spent a lot of time in the Midwest if you think 20 degrees is shorts and sandals.
No, relative to what it could be, and no, I've literally never been to the Midwest.
As someone who's been to the Midwest, I can tell you right now, they're not wearing shorts and sandals in 20-degree weather. It's not happening. Cool. I get stared at when I walk out when I visit back for family in the Midwest.
Right.
When I walk out in, my compression shorts and regular shorts with a t-shirt on. I get weird looks. I'm just saying.
You're probably gonna get weird looks wearing compression shorts out here in California too.
Accurate.
You might get
not as many though. Not as many weird looks.
Yeah.
Not as many.
Just
a couple though. Just a few. Especially with my big body behind. Anyway, listen, this is where I disagree with you. And I think the reason is because I think you have a better chance of getting a healthy Nick Bosa back. If Fred Warner comes back, I don't know how if he's going to be 100%. And here's the other thing, too. If Aaron Rodgers is going to be the guy that gets the ball out in 2.5 seconds, then what impact does Nick Bosa is he really going to have on the game? Listen, what did we just see from the Niners? Even without Nick Bosa on the field, the run defense is still phenomenal. It's still fantastic. DJ Jones and Eric Armstead is a problem on the interior. You can't double team them. They're going to beat double teams. And when you do single them up, they're just going to destroy. They're going to destroy.
He's a big dude.
He's a big dude. He's a big dude. You know what? You know what the Green Bay Packers haven't had to deal with, JHill? They haven't had to deal with Eric Armstead and DJ Jones on the interior against their own line.
That's true.
They haven't dealt with that.
Would that change, though? Would the 49ers move Armstead to the outside if Nick Bosa's not playing?
I don't think so.
They went Arden Key, they went Charles Omenihu, they went Samson Ebukam. Would they stick with that formula?
I think you do.
Okay.
I think you do. I think you've seen enough from Eric Armstead on the interior right now that it does more for you right now to keep him on the interior with DJ than the other way around, which is why I think it's more important that you have a healthy Fred Warner coming into this football game. Because if you have that, then you can continue that run game dominance. You put the onus on Aaron Rodgers to throw the ball 50, 60 times in bad weather with the ball being, not necessarily the greatest throw in those type of temperatures and climates unless you get Deflategate going on. And Fred Warner's got to be able to go out there and cover whoever it may be, whether it's, a guy out of the backfield or Mercedes Lewis out in space. I think Fred Warner, getting him back and healthy is probably the biggest impact in this football game, just because, I think you still find success in one avenue in stopping the run, even with Nick Bosa not on the football field. You can find other ways to generate a pass rush. You can stunt, you can blitz. Timely blitzes work as well. And D'Amico Ryan's dialed up a lot against the Cowboys.
He called and they worked out well. They didn't always get the sack, but
pressures.
They made Dak make some just god awful throws that elite quarterbacks not make.
Well, and Dak, in his defense, though, has been one of the better quarterbacks against pressure. In fact, completing over 65% of his passes against
they
pressure.
they showed that stat, but not yesterday.
I agree, and I thought I thought Jimmy was one of those ones that got outside the pocket against pressure as well. And did maybe better than we've seen of him navigating, going up inside the pocket and then out.
Except for
that one throw.
Well, we actually had a couple that were. I'm not saying the throw was good. I was talking more about
the other one that got bad.
Presence.
His pocket presence was phenomenal.
About him moving up in the pocket and then getting outside. I thought that was a kind of nice difference from Jimmy, where normally he just sits right in the middle of the pocket and eventually it collapses on him. Where he was ready to be mobile, agile, and hostile,
and thankfully not fragile.
And he'll never quit. He wants some more. He wants some more. He wants some more. That's true. It's accurate.
Yeah,
it's accurate.
Yeah, 100%. I think that this was, I think you guys have make some good points. I think hopefully we have both of those guys and we don't have to worry about which one, because you're right. Fred Warner is a big impact, but he's also a big impact not just in the run game but the pass game, because he is somebody that could cover a tight end one-on-one. He could cover one of those running backs out of the backfield. Those are going to be possibly big losses. And then of course Nick Bosa. You're right, Jay. With them having to chip him, without them having to give so much attention to him, it's going to free somebody up somewhere else. That just makes life easy. 5 sacks against the Cowboys. Nick Bosa plays the whole game. You could probably add 3 or 4 more.
Yeah.
That's just the impact that he has. But now it's time for the drive.
Time for the drive,
baby.
And Alex, since you won the toss, you get to decide who's going to go first on the drive and have that 1 minute to make your impact felt. Is it going to be you going first, or are you going to send it over here to JHill and see what he can do with his minute?
I'm going to see what JHill does with his minute first. I took it and ran with it last week and gave him no opportunity. So I want to give him a chance. He kind of shot himself in the early in this episode. Let's see if he can make up for it now.
And Jay, you alluded to this game early on, the week 3 matchup between the 49ers and the Packers. We all know how tight it was. Jimmy Garoppolo leading a game.
Great comeback.
What should have been a game-winning drive, or he gets down there under 2 minutes. In fact, 37 seconds, touchdown, Kyle Juszczyk. And then Aaron Rodgers goes and gets it done. But these teams might be a little bit different now. What is the biggest difference between week 3 and this week of the divisional round? And will that make a big difference in the 49ers' chances to beat Green Bay?
I think the biggest difference is, I mean, there's several ways to go here, but to me, the biggest difference is having confidence in our secondary. I really just enjoy the fact that I don't have to sit there and worry about every time a ball's in the air, defensive holding, or a Josh Norman, a PI. Aubrey Thomas is looking like a guy that could be a starter for us for the foreseeable future. And Mosley is a guy who can also make some plays. Having Tart and Ford both healthy is, I think, huge too. I really like the fact that, hey, it's clear our front 7 is the best part of our defense, but the back 4 is no longer a liability. It's actually helping us now. They locked the Cowboys up yesterday.
Fair, Jay. I mean, it's a great argument to be made. It's a solid argument at that. And I tip my hat to you with that argument, because it's about the safest argument you could have made is the secondary, because it's been the one that's most in flux. Also, mid-game, it's the one that took the most amount of damage against the Green Bay Packers. But that's just not the reality, because Niners almost won despite that banged-up secondary. Almost won despite it. You know what's going to make this game a whole heck of a lot easier? The run game, my guy. Elijah Mitchell in the backfield. Deebo Samuel playing the role that he's been playing, and Jimmy Garoppolo getting them in and out of plays and keeping them in the right formations better than he ever has. He's operating this offense at a clip we haven't seen since the 2017 season in terms of his confidence and understanding, putting guys in the right spot, putting the ball in the right spot for the most part. He just has a handful of throws each and every game. If he can avoid those, and those throws in this game aren't back-breaking, then the 49ers run game should be able to carry the load here. Elijah Mitchell is shown why he's RB1. Kyle Shanahan has shown why he's basically handed the keys to the offense to this young man. And Deebo Samuel is one of the best players, if not the MVP of the NFL.
You do realize that they only scored 23 points, right?
Yes. What's your point?
Okay, so for as great as they played, they just scored 23 points versus a Cowboy defense that is average at best. So I don't, and the yards per carry for Elijah weren't great.
Did he rush for 92 yards?
On how many carries?
Wasn't it like 20?
So that's less than 5 yards a carry. That's about 4. But he had a lot of.
If you run the ball 3 times for 4 yards, it's a first down.
He had a lot of 12-yard runs, and he had a lot of 1-yard runs.
Jay, in all defense, though, of Elijah Mitchell, wouldn't the end of the game, when they know you're going to run and you're running the football against these loaded boxes, kind of skew those numbers a little bit?
Kind of lowered down a little bit. But for a good chunk of the second half, the running game was a little bit slow, at least with Elijah.
It was big when it needed to be big.
And he also did lose a few carries, right? Where they had penalties and stuff that he would have had big gains on.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I get what you're saying. I mean, they didn't score points. And that's one thing you have to do to win games.
And defense carries them.
Obviously, well,
I don't disagree.
Anytime you have a great defense,
especially on the road. You have to have your defense show up.
Agreed. But you know what helps aid the defense? You know what helps aid the defense in those situations? You can run the football.
Yeah. They still only scored 23 points, though.
Yeah, but it kept the defense off the field.
But you're talking about last week. I'm talking about coming into this football game.
Right.
Against Green Bay.
I'm saying,
which last time you didn't have the run game to lean on. You had to rely on the arm of Jimmy Garoppolo. You now have that to lean on.
Isn't time of possession just as important, though? Because it keeps that defense off the field and keeps them fresh.
And they can attack.
So then they actually play better. So then, in so facto, you don't need to score as many points.
I mean, that is.
I'm not saying that you're. I'm not saying that you're wrong, JHill. I'm just saying that I'm right.
Because I do think they should have scored points. They should have scored more points, and I think they had plays out there that they left on the table.
That was the worst thing you've said all season. That was so bad.
What do you mean?
That was terrible.
It was great. What are you talking about?
That was so bad.
Let me get nice and toasty to this game this weekend.
Do you guys think we'll see a little more of Juszczyk and Kittle too? Because I thought for San Francisco to win the game that they would need to obviously to control the clock, run the ball. But I really thought that Kittle would be a 5 to 7 catch for 90+ yard guy too, and he had 1 catch for 18 yards. Now,
I did as well.
He did a great job in line with his blocking, but he was not a threat in the pass game at all.
I think there was a couple of plays that they were going to him, right? You had the one that got knocked down.
Yeah.
That would have been a catch, and then you had the one I believe that was getting floated over the top, but Jimmy threw it more on a line and it got knocked down.
Yep.
Those are 2 catches he could have had, but you're right. It wasn't something they aimed to do, and it could be that Dan Quinn aimed to take him away, which opened up other areas, where Debo, Brandon Ayuk, and those guys can prove. And sometimes Jawan Jennings just getting one-on-one and winning.
How about Travis Benjamin early in the game too with the crosser?
Yeah, big catch
play action. That was huge.
I mean, he's running through zones, and if they were going to run man, I mean, you're going to have Trayvon Diggs or whoever chasing a really speedy Travis Benjamin. That was a good idea using him in those situations.
It was. It was.
The more and more that we see Jawan, man, for a guy who gets 3 or 4 touches a game, he has a big impact on the games because they're all
they're huge, man. All of them
touchdowns
are
or they're all first downs.
Yeah, Jawan Jennings
on third down. Man,
Jawan Jennings optimized his touches in the game, and did these guys optimize their arguments? You get to decide. Let us know in the comment section who won the arguments, who made the best points on these topics. Was it Alex with the beanie on? Was it JHill with the throwback hat? It's all up to you. You make the decision. Who had the best arguments? You have arguments to make. Let us know in the comment section. Make your arguments down there. Are these guys wrong? You're right. I want to hear from you.
I want to. We want to hear from you. Always do. Cutback Crew always has good things to say.
Unless you're a Cowboy fan, then just go sit in the corner and keep on crying.
I mean, they can keep crying, but I would love to hear whatever salt they have to throw this way.
The referee cost us and got Dak's way. Wee.
I mean,
know the rules, guys. The referee has to touch the ball.
That's also accurate.
It was good blocking by the Dallas Cowboys offensive line.
Wonderful blocking.
That was the only play that they actually blocked really well.
Held up against the pressure.
And it was the 125-pound referee.
Impressive. It really, truly is. But Cutback Crew, let us know down below. Make sure you vote as well. Stick around because we got game recap show after this that you're not going to want to miss. Recapping this incredible wild card win.
I'll tell you what happened. The defense was great and the offense was just good enough. There. Here's your recap.
I have a feeling we're going to go a little more in depth than that.
It's the reason why Jay Hill's not on the recap show. Ant and I are. We'll see you on that one. And until then, stay safe.
Remember the right way.
It's always the 49ers way. My word almighty.
Just shut.
killing two old '90s rivals in 1 week, baby. I love it.